Hey fans, it's me Aaron for a comic show. It's the Wednesday before Christmas. The publishers got out a lot of good stuff this week. It's a pretty heavy week, great things. Next week is Doomsday Clock 2, really excited about that. But let's dig into this Dark Knights Metal 4. This issue was the shit. This is where everything came together. And for people that, might have been confused of all this stuff going on and whatnot, there's a little storybook beginning that Dream is telling. That Dream, also known as Sandman sometimes, some people call him Sandman, some call him the Gangster of Love. He's in here and he's doing stuff. He's helping Batman and Superman. It's personal for him. I don't know if you know, but Carter Hall is kind of his dad. And yeah, it was awesome. I'm not going to spoil anything that happens in here, other than that, obviously this is where he gets involved. And it leads right into Hawkman Found. So this is the issue you're waiting for. I've personally enjoyed every issue so far. I love this book, but this was the big payoff issue, and they nailed it with this. So I'm excited for the end. Let's end strong. That was awesome. Love that Dream's in it. Moving on to Batman 37, Double Date, Super Friends Part 2. This issue was very touching, very personal, very emotional, and I love it. I love what Tom King is doing with these issues where he kind of deconstructs the characters and show how they relate and what their essence is and how they relate to each other and why, what are their motivations, why are they doing what they're doing, why is Batman marrying Catwoman, why is Catwoman marrying Batman, why are Superman and Lois even together? All answered here, all answered well. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So, if you're a naysayer, say nay somewhere else because it was awesome. And then finally for DC, Super Sons of Tomorrow, Part 1 and 2, boom, both out in the same week. They were both great. Look at this, the Tim Drake Batman from an alternate future with a gun. And yes, this Super Sons of Tomorrow, if you've seen covers for other issues, this is where the other characters that are linked with Tim Drake and his era of Teen Titans are, grown up now, but this is where they are. This is where they are going to be seen in this Rebirth universe. We saw them before the New 52. We saw them in Titans of Tomorrow story arc that Jeff Johns did, things like that. Well, now they're here. How do they interact with Damian and Jonathan Kent, Superboy? What is the reason that Tim Drake's here again? And that's cool. This is what fans want. This is what me as a fan, this is what I want, being a huge Jeff Johns fan of his Titans run, and just reading so many comics where those were my Teen Titans. So now we have them, and I'm not saying I don't like Damian. He's great. Jonathan Kent's fine, but let's see the others. Move the camera on them. Let's see what they're doing, and that's what it is. Moving on to Marvel, we have Marvel 2-in-1 Thing and the Human Torch. This is the series that's the fate of the four. It's we're going to see movement. We're going to see Johnny and Thing search for Reed and Sue and their kids. That we saw a little bit of that in that Marvel Legacy one-shot that Jason Aaron did, and now we're getting more of that. Doom's in here. They say what they've been doing, why they've been doing it, what they've been avoiding, and what they're doing now. It was a great issue. Art was great. I loved it. Can't wait for more. If you're a Fantastic Four fan, get it. And, it means more now that there's absolutely a promise of an ongoing Fantastic Four book once this runs its course. Probably around May, Free Comic Book Day, launch a new Fantastic Four book. That's what I'm thinking. So get that. It was cool. Tales of Suspense featuring Hawkeye and the Winter Soldier. That's a freaking mouthful. Tales of Suspense, obviously, so they can keep the sales mark live, so they don't lose that little trademark sales mark title. But Rosenberg nailed it. This was a fun book. It felt like Fraction's Hawkeye, at least the Hawkeye parts, and Hawkeye is the main narrator throughout. I like that. I like that he doesn't believe that Black Widow's dead. He thinks she's still killing people, and so does Winter Soldier. And they're both working a case from opposite ends, and they both hate each other, and they both have to work together. So that is all the recipe to mix in for a great character book that also has a lot of action and depth. So, and it's a miniseries. So it'll be done in 5 issues, and I liked it more than I thought I would. Moving on, X-Men Grand Design by Ed Piskor. This is the guy that did Hip Hop Family Tree, those big oversized things, and these will be collected oversized. The art and the writing, it's kind of small for this page. You know, I thoroughly enjoyed it, but I think I will like it more on the Treasury size. But what this book is, he described it as hip hop sampling with the X-Men. Essentially, the X-Men have this long publishing past, and in publishing chronological order, you know, this happened, this happened, this happened, but while it was being published, all these retcons, all these explanations of things that happened in the past, you know, putting Wolverine in World War II, putting different characters in different places and where they came from, and Shadow King and all this stuff, this is telling the story of the X-Men chronologically from the start, with every retcon, every new fold put into the story chronologically. And, you know, I know that might not sound like, oh my God, that's amazing, but it is. And it's really well done. It's really good. It's super dense. If you're an X-Men fan, this is like a love letter to you. You'll probably enjoy it. And that's all I have to say about that. I liked it a lot. But I'm excited about the Treasury oversized editions. And finally, my new favorite Marvel book, Doctor Strange. Donny Cates has been doing, he hit the ground running with this. He didn't have to do this. He didn't have to make Loki the Sorcerer Supreme and make, I don't know, Doctor Strange a veterinarian, but he did. And that's very questionable. That's very weird. Like, you know, if someone told you that on the internet or you read that on Wikipedia, you're like, what the hell is this shit? You know, like, what's going on here? I don't want to read that. That's crap. But it's awesome. And without spoiling stuff, let's just say Doctor Strange is taking on Asgard because Loki took his house and all this stuff. And now he's going after Asgard. He has an ally that hasn't been seen in a long time, since perhaps the last season of Asgard. And yeah, I'm digging it. It's great. I know that Loki as Sorcerer Supreme is something that no one asked for, but that's just because we didn't know what a great story Cates had planned. Moving on to some independent stuff. Assassinistas, new Black Crown book. It's Teenie Howard, Gilbert Hernandez on art. It's a story kind of like Charlie's Angels-ish, a team of assassin women that were great assassins, and now fast forward, one of them at least has a son, and he's in college, and she can't pay for his tuition, I guess because she's not being an assassin anymore. And things are happening, and he gets drawn in, and him and his very charming lover are drawn into this action, and it's a book with a lot of verb, a lot of its own tone. It feels to me like a Hernandez book, but obviously that's because of the art. The writing is solid. She's also written stuff for Rick and Morty and other stuff like that, the comic. And if you look at it and you think Assassinistas, that sounds like an amazing title, get it, you know, because it is an amazing title. And I like what Black Crown is doing and wants to do with comics. I like that they want to make comics weird and fun and irreverent, and a lot like the early Vertigo stuff when anything could happen and it was all just nutty. So there's that. Quantum and Woody, look at this ridiculous cover. It's like foil embossed, it's like sparkly. This Quantum and Woody, they're separated. They pretty much hate each other now, and it's hilarious. They got a comedy writer to do it. I think he writes for Stephen Colbert, and I laughed and laughed. So it's not a reboot, it's just a new continuing story of the brothers, and sometimes past, and they're not speaking to each other anymore. And it's still funny. So there's that. HELLBOY KRAMPUSNACHT. This was crazy. I like the Krampus stuff. That's fun, and to see HELLBOY versus Krampus is something, that a story that could write itself, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a one-shot, one and done. I'm not gonna. It has a good fold. It has a good hook, and if you're a Hellboy fan, absolutely get it. And if you're if you just like the idea of Krampus versus Hellboy, get it. It's a masterclass. Mike Mignola writing it and Adam Hughes on art. There's no downside to this. Just a one shot. It's out before Christmas. Pick it up. And then finally, Black Hammer, Volume 2 of the event. I love this Jeff Lemire book. If you haven't tried Black Hammer, seriously. I mean, on the back, it's all perfect scores from reviewers. I think this takes all his personal slice of life, inner family stuff that he's so good at, and everything he's done, weird genre, hero, sci-fi, and marries them together in a perfect way that kind of feels like if the Silver Age issues that you read before really held up. That's what Black Hammer would be. So thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Next week's Doomsday Clock, and have a great Christmas. Bye-bye.